The cylinder overheats, just breaks the circuit. So inside here you take a live feed. Now you can do it, there's two ways of doing it. You can either take the live feed to the controller via the high limit stat, or you can take the 230 volt power cable from the controller to the pump to the high limit stat. Both comply. What we're trying to do is make sure that if that overheats and pops, it cuts the power to the pump. It doesn't only cuts the power.
The way we're doing it, it's very simple. Coming in with the power.
Yeah.
We're going it in the actual programmer.
Yeah.
The continuing it down to there, coming back with another line, and that's how we're using it as a line. So we're continuing the line all the way through. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So as long as when that pops, the pump can't run.
The machine won't work if that isn't connected. That's why we do it that way.
That's right. But the reason why we usually go for cutting the live feed to the controller is simply because if you had a system with a panel on each roof, then you've got two parts.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And if you cut the controller, it cuts both of them. Yeah. It's as simple as that. Makes it a lot easier.
At the moment, we're on a one pump system. If it changes, then we alter it accordingly.
It might change going forwards. It might do. You never know. And you might have people that want two panels. You never
We've got
know.
flexibility, and that's how we're doing it at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, nice and simple. So once you've done that, so you've got your controller wired up by the high limit stat, nice and simple. Over here, obviously, the solar expansion vessel you've got hanging below this, purely because that way around you don't have to worry about bleeding air out of the pipe. Nice and simple. If this isn't long enough, you can use some of your normal track pipe, just take the insulation off it. Okay? And with your track pipe, by the way, when you're cutting it, cut it short, just keep your rough cuts. Because you might want to put those, you can put those on the panel after you've double checked everything's fine, and you can cover up all your loose ends with it and just put some tape on it. So this can also, that's leaking by the way. Could have made that one up.
I'll learn the apprentice.
See me.
It'll be interesting to see why actually. Once you've done it, have a look at the cut. Shouldn't we? So okay, so that's fine. This discharge can go anywhere, but that has to be on a fall. And the pipe going into the discharge container doesn't want to go all the way to the bottom, because obviously if it goes to below the surface of the fluid, it won't work. So it literally just wants to quite long that one.
This is how I'm not doing it.
That's good.
On a happier note, how much should that discharge? How much should that discharge as well?
0. Should never discharge. Shouldn't it?
No, it shouldn't.
Shouldn't. No, it shouldn't discharge at all. So,
Because what we're having, the lads will keep asking us, why have we not got that connected to a drain? And this is down
Yeah,
why
bottom.
lads not. Yeah, I know that, but these lads.
oh, this is an emergency thing. This, basically, everything's belt and braces. Like literally, the thing is, we've got a panel whose internal configuration is designed to absorb problems, to get over the problems of overheating. We've got fibre washers that are designed, they're oil industry fibre washers, so they should be good for 300 degrees and the pumps can't get that hot. We're putting the steam trap in to try and overcome the problems of the steam in the pump station, but the pump station should be able to take it anyway, because we've got much bigger pumps, much better pumps than you would normally have with the solar station. Normally have these little tiny pumps and they're useless, they can melt. Also, all this stuff, you see these gauges here, you see this is big and this is big. Some of them that you'll see on other pump stations, if you ever come to any, we've got little tiny pressure gauges, little tiny temperature gauges. They can't dissipate the heat, they melt. This isn't using 1 inch, this is using 1 1/4 inch. They're much bigger, they dissipate more heat. The actual length, the distance between there and there on this pump is bigger than normal, it's 180 rather than 130. All the while we're trying to get rid of heat. Now this is because most of the systems that we supply before Greenham's grant are bloody great big systems on hospitals and schools and things with loads and loads of panels. This is designed to withstand those. So your little one panel systems, we should be alright with it. We hope. Right. So and everything's really high spec. These are the most reliable pump stations on the market, and If you're getting pumps blowing up, it might be because the wires have been wired back to front. I don't know, it'd be
That
interesting to
not,
see.
that not.
Yeah, we'll
Like
find
no
out.
issues. It's childproof, isn't it?
It's what?
It's childproof. It's all colour
Yeah, we've got a couple
Yeah.
downstairs apparently, we've got a fault on them, so we'll have a bit of space to see what it is, but it might just be the pump, or well, anyway, never mind about that. So, if you are cutting the pipe using a rotary pipe cutter and you get a nice clean cut, if you are flanging it using a flanging tool, 2 rings down to get it completely flat, you won't get leaks. But this one you didn't flange because that's the ready-made pipe, I guess.
Which one?
This one to the expansion vessel.
That would just throw them in quite
Yeah,
a lot.
yeah, so anyway, so not, yeah, anyway. So, okay, so now you've got the system all in.
Sorry, you said 2.
Sorry?
We're doing 3. We're told 3.
We
Yeah,
told
Simon
you
from
like-
Kingsman told us three rings.
3 rings?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing 3.
You're doing 3?
Yeah, and we're getting it. And we're having no leaks at all. It's fantastic.
You can do 3, that's absolutely fine. The reason why they're doing 3 is because they don't like using the clips. Kingspan didn't like the clips.
When he come out, he told us 3 rings.
Yeah.
If you
And
can
do
do,
one and then a 2.
Is that with the C-clamp as well?
And the C-con as
Yeah,
well.
C-con.
Belt and brakes, it's back to like you said. Which is
absolutely
all-
fine, you can do 3, great, yeah. The reason we do 2 is, for a start, if you do 2, it should be absolutely fine anyway. The thing is, if you start using the bigger gauge pipe, there's thicker and thicker pipes. You can't do that many. The 3, doing 3, there is a smaller bore pipe in this, and you have to do 3 on that. So I guess they're just like, as a rule of thumb, they're just saying do 3. Fair enough. Yeah, if you can do 3, great. Okay, that's fine. So yeah, as long as you see, have a look at it, it's nice clean. What you want to do is run your finger around the flat face, just check there's no creases in it. Because you've got the slightest crease, it will leak. So when you're doing it, make sure you give yourself a little bit of slack, just in case you have to recut the pipe, because you cocked it up, because it's going to happen. It does happen sometimes. You know, it just doesn't work out. You know, give yourself a bit. You know, when you go just really, just enough, and then you have to recut it.
Oh, bastard!
And you get stuck, you can always cut it and you can always join it. It
Yeah.
says joiners. So you have to joiners on you. Okay, so that's all fine. Discharge container, constant fall, yeah. I'm using this pipe. That's totally fine. That needs to just be high enough so you can get something underneath it. So it might be that you would have to put
They've actually put measurements down, press the button, and the lads are doing it. So then we can still, if it does use as an emergency.
Yeah.
And that pipe there that we were talking about off the expansion, the expansion vessel, that comes as is. The lads are-
Okay, that comes this, but if you can't, if for some reason or other there's just simply not enough space to put this and you need to put it over here, don't feel that you have to use this pipe. You can just make yourself a pipe up out of some of this, if worst comes to the worst. Okay, so, because sometimes you physically can't get it in, because
No, you can't.
yeah, and you just need to move it somewhere else. You just got to make sure you've still got a fall on it. And it might be that has to go well. That, you can't have that too close to the ground, because obviously it's got a valve on the bottom of it. Okay, so what you do then, so you've got this thing, you've installed it all. Next thing you have to do is check the pressure on the vessel. There's different brands, unfortunately, because you're using so many vessels at the moment. The manufacturers don't make enough solar rated vessels. So this is a Zilmet, which is pre-charge 2.